He is one of Vladimir Putin's worst enemies, a thorn in the side of the Russian strongman. The opposition leader Alexei Navalny has led protests and called for Putin to be ousted. But tonight, through his attorney, he says he was the victim of Putin's ultimate form of payback, poison.
He really was poisoned by some unidentified chemical agent.
Navalny was arrested last week after he called for protests in Moscow. Once in jail, he says he suffered an allergic reaction and was hospitalized, even though he says he's never had allergies. Today, he was released from the hospital and sent back to detention, all under the watchful eye of a Russian security officer. His personal doctor says there was a chemical substance introduced into his body that caused the reaction, but a hospital official denies the accusation.
Nothing of what you spoke about has been proven.
Navalny is no stranger to Putin's wrath. He's been arrested by Putin at least 15 times and was once attacked with an antiseptic green dye that he says damaged his vision in one eye. Despite his arrest, the protest Navalny called for last week still brought thousands onto the streets of Moscow over the weekend, where Putin's forces cracked down and arrested more than 1,300 people.
It is quite possible and actually very probable that they did something out of spite to Navalny, who actually was the first one to call for a protest.
Navalny called for the protests because of a decision by election authorities to bar several opposition candidates from running for Moscow City Council, a seemingly minor position, but one experts say Putin and his cronies still control.
They don't want any outside political forces making their way onto any part of the election ladder, even a Moscow City Council.
The Russian president himself wasn't in town, electing instead to preside over a huge parade on the water in St. Petersburg, staged by the Russian Navy. But analysts say, despite being miles away, Putin could have easily ordered Navalny to be punished, especially given the fate of some of Putin's other enemies. Former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter were poisoned and nearly killed last year in Great Britain with the powerful nerve agent Novichok. British authorities tied that to the Kremlin. And in 2006, former Russian intelligence agent Alexander Litvinenko, who had dug up information tying Putin to organized crime, was killed in London when someone slipped the radioactive substance polonium into his tea. Navalny has been on a campaign to expose the alleged corruption of Putin and his cronies, which analysts say is the biggest threat to the former KGB colonel.
There's a lot of anxiety around Putin's succession, around the elites that are around Putin. And I think there is a sense of, is everybody going to hang together? Is there loyalty? If somebody dissents, is that deck of cards going to come down? So I think that they're in an era of anxiety.
Back to Gilroy, California, where people dove for cover as a gunman started to shoot at a garlic festival in the town of Gilroy. It's south of San Francisco. And among the victims, among the people diving for cover, I should say, and who survived, is this little 7-year-old boy.
I thought I was gonna die.
Why did you think that?
Since they were like 40 feet away from us.
What did you do?
I went under a table.
And you stayed there?
Yeah, until the police got them.
You can only imagine what his little eyes have seen. The mayor said on Facebook that it's been a long and sad day, and emergency services are still on the scene this morning.
Moments ago on the Senate floor, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell striking back at critics, taking particular aim at the Washington Post's Dana Milbank, who accused Leader McConnell of doing, quote unquote, Putin's bidding when McConnell blocked those 2 election security measures last week. So here is Leader McConnell from just moments ago.
Mitch McConnell, the hawkish foreign policy conservative who spent decades pushing back on Russia every way I can think of, was accused of what amounts to treason by multiple media outlets within a couple of hours. These people have worn out the volume knob so badly that they have nothing left but the most unhinged smears. Welcome to modern-day McCarthyism.
McConnell spoke for nearly 20 minutes, his tone often angry as he referred to the, quote, conspirational fever swamp.
Do you think that these attacks are even really about your city or about something else?
I think it's about dividing this country. If you look, he attacked 4 minority women and didn't even do the research to find out that 3 of them were born here, and 1 is a naturalized citizen now. And then he attacked one of the most powerful congressmen in the country, in Elijah Cummings, who have represented Baltimore well. I mean, there's a pattern now of attacking people of color. I mean, if you want to help us, help us. Don't talk about us. Send the resources that we need to rebuild America. He's talking about he want to make America great again. Then put the money in the cities that need it the most. And that way you can make America great again. But what he's doing is he's making America the laughingstock of the world. Our allies, he has alienated our allies. I mean, come on, no president have ever done anything like that. Our country is in turmoil under his leadership.